I just felt was super important to do because we saw the news of Maduro being taken out and Trump swooping in and all the, I guess, political posts online about if this was good, if this was bad. Is Maduro, is it America's responsibility to go in and take out a leader of a sovereign nation? Is Venezuela a sovereign nation? Um, but I just thought, you know what we'd really want to see, and this is what everybody kept asking me because my post went absolutely viral. If you guys haven't seen, my posts about Venezuela have gone absolutely nuts, and I wanted to start interviewing people that were actually Venezuelan and find out what their opinions were, what their stories are, and you guys can judge for yourselves. So I actually have a survivor. This is Maria de Luz de Silva. She is amazing to volunteer and uh, basically tell her story about what it was like in Venezuela. So talk to me first off, how long have you left Venezuela?
Since 2018, January, I left Venezuela to go to Portugal. But the first time I left Venezuela, because I was, going out and in Venezuela, because I didn't want to totally leave my country. Uh, 2018 was the year that I left definitely, like forever. And I even promised to myself to never go back because it was too much suffering for me, my family, and all my friends. But what happened, I don't know if you are gonna ask me about that. The thing that happened was in 2009, but we're gonna talk about that. You asked me.
Yeah, so that I want to know about that. Like, what happened? Like, what was the go back to Hugo Chavez because this is where it always comes back to. People talk about the transfer of power, the rise of power from Hugo Chavez. Like, you've lived through so much of it. So just go back to what your earliest memory of is, how did Venezuela get where it's at right now?
Well, Hugo Chavez started the government when I was 9 years old. And I didn't know anything about politics, nothing about the government, but I lived it. I didn't know anything. I didn't read anything. I experienced it. I lived it. And I remember when I was 9 years old, it was in 1999. There was so much chaos. And I remember that one of those years, um, Venezuela just stopped and everyone was outside trying to buy everything from the supermarket. Nothing, like everything was gone. Also gas, like a lot
How
of
old how
chaos.
old were you? How old were you?
I was nine, between 9 and 10 years old.
You were
Yeah,
9 and 10 years old, and this is when you first had this realization that something's wrong.
exactly.
Hmm.
Yes.
And the
And
problem
then
was that there was people trying to buy things and they couldn't buy things.
yes, I started experiencing scarcity, and also I started experiencing that if I was successful, it was going to be dangerous to be successful. Yes.
Hmm.
So I started being in survival mode without knowing.
So when you say that survival mode, when you say that you're afraid of being successful, is that because the politicians, the general consensus, what's happening is they were demonizing successful people.
Yeah,
They were
exactly.
just like we have here in America where they say there should be no billionaires, where
Yeah.
they say, tax the rich, right? All these
Yeah.
things, they're dehumanizing successful people.
Yes, and I remember watching Hugo Chavez saying, "Oh, being rich is bad. It's bad to be rich. So we are going to." So he was like threatening rich people. And my dad started doing good in Venezuela. My dad is Portuguese. See, he went from Portugal to Venezuela when he was 8 years old. All he did was work. He's a great citizen. He's the most honest person I know. Like he is an honorable man, and one of his dreams was to have a sand company. That's the name, Jake?
Sand. Yeah,
Yeah, sand
sure.
company. So he built that sand company and he started to, you know, be rich. Like it started to go well. And then I was 19 years old and we were doing good, but we couldn't say that to people because that was dangerous. So when people would ask us, like, hey, how is it going? We were like, no, not so well. Like we were shrinking, even if we were doing good. But also the government knew who was doing good and who was not doing good. So when I was 19 years old, I remember the day we were all in my house in Venezuela, in a little city called La Victoria, and all my family was there because this was a family company. So my dad built it, and then he started having this partnership with his brothers, his siblings, and family. So we already knew he was gonna talk about our company because one person that is our friend told us. So he's like,
Hmm.
"Hey, you have to listen. You have to watch this TV
So
program
the
because
enemy, so first let's go back because I think there's a bigger story. Why did Hugo Chavez feel like he was going to attack you? Was it because your family was making too much power, had too much influence, had too much money? They were demonizing the rich? Like what happened? I don't, and this is why I'm doing the story because I don't feel like most people understand socialism. They don't understand dictatorship. It's interesting because when I do these posts and I talk about socialism, people always say, well, that's not socialism, that's communism, or that's not socialism, that's dictatorship. It always starts that way, right? And even when they say it's not socialism, it's democratic socialism. It always starts democratically. They elected Hugo Chavez legitimately, right?
yes,
It's
because he
it's
was lying. He was
it's
lying.
right. It's when they get in power, you realize, well, you can't really have socialism if you allow capitalists in the system, right?
Mm,
Because
yes.
it doesn't work that way. So this is why, through history, socialism has been one of the only government forms where they've had to put walls up to keep people from leaving, right?
Mm,
In America, we're putting walls up to keep people from coming.
mm,
And in socialist communist countries, they're putting up walls to keep people from leaving.
mm.
So
Yeah.
talk to me about that experience. Like when did you said that your parents were told by a family friend that the government has them on their watch list, that they're coming for them. And
Yeah.
what did your dad do? Did he warn you? Like what happened?
Well, Hugo Chavez was already expropriating, nationalizing a lot of companies without any reason.
Nationalizing. In other words, the country is taking over businesses.
Robbing the company, like just taking it without any logical explanation. I'm gonna tell you an example. For example, Hugo Chavez did something like that. Oh, what about this? Because he was expropriating, nationalizing companies on national TV. Every day he had a program and he would be there like 4 hours, 8 hours. I remember that I was watching TV, like, my program when I was a kid, and he was just, like interrupting my program and being there for 4 or 8 hours. So he was already expropriating and nationalizing companies. And one of the reasons, I'm going to give you an example, he said, like, oh, what about this place? And then uh, something like that. Like he said, oh, yeah, I remember this place was the house of Simon Bolivar, and now it's a store. So he would say expropiado, like let's just take it. That was the reason. One of the reasons, like these reasons were didn't have any sense. So also he did that to my dad. So he said, "Oh, Jose da Silva, the business Prareca." So he said the name that is in San Mateo in this address, expropiado. So he would say that in national TV, and that is so dangerous in Venezuela at that moment. If you say the name, if you say the company, if you say the address, you know, as a president, human being, you know that you are putting this person like in
It's a target.
in harm.
Right. They're
You know
basically making you a target by saying, here's where this person lives, this is where this is, and by declaring who you are, it's telling people they have money and they have power, which now
exactly,
makes you, it's basically hunting day for rich people, right?
exactly. Thieves knew, like these people, the kidnappers knew. Oh, okay, so they already have the information, right? Now we were like kind of like famous to be rich or something like that. So what happened? What happened days after was that they kidnapped my brother, and then um, my dad, like tried to negotiate with the person, with these thieves, and he paid. And then the thieves said, "Oh, next is gonna be your sister." He said that to my brother.
So they kidnapped your brother and then
Yeah,
threatened that you were going to be next. And
yeah.
why did they kidnap your brother? I'm trying to figure this out.
Because they knew at that moment we were doing good.
And they
We
didn't,
were doing.
and they knew that you wouldn't give up the power easily. They wouldn't give up the money easily.
Mhm. Yes. And after that, it was a complete nightmare because I left Venezuela right away. Like when they said that to my brother, I left Venezuela. I went to Europe and I stayed there for years. But I missed Venezuela. So after years, I came back. I'm like, okay, these thieves forgot about me, you know? So I came back and then it continued. These thieves would send papers to the other company of my dad and saying like, "Hey, if you don't pay me monthly a rent, like if you don't pay me monthly, I'm going to do this and this and this and this to your family." So it was a nightmare. And then well, I don't know if you want to ask more about this part because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, let's move. I love this. Well, I don't love this, but I'm very grateful and I love that you're sharing your story because I feel like so many people don't understand what it's like because you've got to live through the rise of socialism. You've got to live through the rise of the demonizing of the people who are actually successful and what it's like to have a target on your back for being successful. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. You know, Americans have it very easy. You've been in America now. I met you here in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Um, you see what it's like. Like, first off, let's just go with why everybody's chanting in the streets. What was it like for you? Let's fast forward. Let's fast forward to what it was like for you to hear that Maduro was taken out. Like, what happened? Where were you? What was going through your mind?
Wow. It's a dream come true. Like really, I was sleeping and my because I don't watch news. After everything that happened in Venezuela, it was so much pain for us and our family and Venezuelans that I stopped watching news because why? Like I already lived it, you know? So I don't watch news. I just protect myself from that. Maybe it's like a trauma mechanism. I don't know. So my best friend, she called me. She woke me up and she said, "Hey, cayó Maduro." It means like Maduro is down, but it means like they took Maduro. So she said, "Hey, Trump took Maduro." Cayó Maduro. And I was like, no, no, you are kidding. You are kidding. Because we have been more than 30, almost 30 years, 26 years, um, thinking that, like, oh, yeah, he's leaving. Or when Hugo Chavez died, oh, he died. We're free. No, we were not free. Maduro, oh, yeah, he left. He's not here anymore. And then we were happy. And then, like all these emotions all the time. So I didn't believe when she told me that they took Maduro. I was like, no, it's not true. And then I opened my WhatsApp and my mom showed me a picture that ended up to be an AI picture, but it's just a dream picture for a lot of
I know what
Venezuelans.
picture you're talking about because I posted it too. Yeah.
Is this one?
Yeah, it's an AI it's an
Well,
AI
I didn't
photo.
know it was AI. The real picture is another one. It's even better. The other picture, like, I'm sorry,
Put
but I have to say this.
put that up to the camera for people. Yeah.
This is an AI picture, but the real picture, I say, is even better because he's not in a suit. He's like in a
He's in
nice
like a gray jumpsuit, the real picture. Yeah.
yeah, the real picture. Where's the real picture, Jake? I don't know if you have it there, Jeff. But when I
Yeah.
saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, this one is better.
Yeah.
Um,
I actually made a funny video. I actually made a funny AI video with it earlier,
mm,
using AI.
this
Uh,
one. This one is the real one.
so that's the real picture. Now I'm
Let's
gonna
see.
show you I'm gonna show you a video that I made with AI, and you might actually get a kick out of this. You might like it, maybe you won't. We'll see.
Yes, yes. I'm sorry to say
Okay.
this, but I like it. I like it. I'm so happy. When my mom sent me this picture,
Here
oh,
I
look,
made this with the Maduro flight playlist. Look.
And it's time to fly.
Oh, AI is out of control, right?
I love it. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I love it. Look, this is the actual. My mom even she called me and she said, "Cayó Maduro, se lo llevaron." It means like Maduro is down. They took him, and she sent me this picture. And when my friend told me Cayó Maduro, I'm like, no, you're lying. Then I opened my WhatsApp and I saw that and I started crying. Jeff, I didn't know I was gonna react like that because I have been avoiding so many Venezuelan news because it was like I went to protests, so many protests. I smelled all these, I don't know the name in English, but these bombs, tear
Tear
gas.
gas.
I burn, these wheels from the car. Like I did it all. Like we did it
Well,
all.
you know what? That's a great place to start. That's a great place to start.
Mm.
Um, right now, I can actually see you have so much support in the comment section, right? You have so much support in the comment section. And by the way, all the racist haters are already coming out. I
Mm.
already have my very first comment here saying that that's not a Venezuelan, that you're a Jew. I already have a
Oh,
comment.
imagine.
Because everything comes back to Israel, right? If there's one thing I can tell you, socialists and Nazis can agree on, it's the hatred for Israel and the Jews. Shout out to my Jewish friends. I don't even care if I get hate anymore because they just get attacked all the time, and
Yes,
it is what it is. Um, but yeah,
yes.
look at this guy.
And we know, I
I,
know my truth,
I'm gonna
you know.
ban this guy real quick. He's out of here.
It's okay. He
They
can
always have
listen.
10 followers, you know. That's how it works.
Maybe it's
He's
a bot.
he's out of here.
I have been, by the way, I also went viral on threads, and a lot of people that are not Venezuelan have been insulting me so much. And I'm like, I'm just celebrating. I'm celebrating. Maduro's down. Like, what's wrong with them? They are not Venezuelan. They don't know what we lived. Anything. I'm sorry, but anything is better than Maduro being there. He's a
Yeah.
criminal. He did so many injustices. I have a lot of friends that are political prisoners just because they were protesting with no guns, nothing. They were
Let's
just
go
there.
let's go back to that because you said you had to face tear gas and all this stuff when you were
Yeah.
protesting. So, what was it like? I mean, didn't because I heard in the news reports that back when you were trying to protest that people would literally get killed or they get taken to jail or arrested.
Yeah.
Like, what was it like?
Oof. First, the first hours, so we already knew that. Like the first hours, it was peaceful because would even say, "Hey, it's a peaceful protest." It's like just like with this, I don't know the name,
Hey, can we pause for a second? Hey guys, if this is valuable, if you think more people need to hear Maria's story, share this live stream, share this video.
Mm,
I'm doing this because I don't feel like people are understanding the situation from Venezuelan standpoint. And this is really important. If this was valuable, if you think Maria's story is valuable that more people need to hear it, please share this because I think more people need to understand the situation, especially because I am a true believer that history repeats itself. And
mm.
we are at very scary times around the world where nobody sees a dictator until they become a dictator, except for those who can understand history and see the trends that always happen. The trends that always happen is, they have this giant demonization of people, whether it's the Jews or the successful or the bourgeoisie is what the French went after. They were after the people that the middle class business owners, the business owners. It always happens this way. And then they make it a national movement. They use art and all this they basically justify dehumanize people, and right now we have this trend where they say punch a Nazi. So anybody who is a conservative limited government, they label as a right-wing Nazi, and you have full and unfettered access to punch them and kill them, and you're doing good to society. And that's basically what happened to you and your family.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What was the risk that you had protesting and you said you had people that you knew that you've never seen again?
No. They are in jail. Even my one of my aunts, she was part of a political, I don't know the name in English, but it's a political thing that supports not Maduro, the other
Oh,
part,
the opposition party, right?
the opposition party. Yeah. So she's my aunt, and she
And I
was
and
just
I want to and I want to go back to there because I know last year or in 2024 there was elections, right? We're going to come back to there. But
yes,
but I want to just put that in your mind because that's coming up. So
yes,
because I know that was one of the reasons why Maduro was removed was because supposedly he had lost an election but didn't give up power, right?
yes.
But let's come back there. I want to hear your story about first off, when were these protests that you were involved in, and when did you realize, wow, this is actually very dangerous?
Okay. I started protesting. I don't know. I was young. I don't remember because we have been in so many protests. But I knew it was gonna be dangerous. Um, Not in the first hour, like after maybe like after the first hour or 2 hours, or when the protest is finishing, is the moment that it becomes dangerous. I don't know if in every country is like that, but in Venezuela, I already
Mm.
knew. So what I did is that I used to be like in the first hour, and then when things started to have like chaos, we would, go back to our house. But I remember one day that I was like, oh, I had a lot of like frustration and I didn't care. And at that moment, I was like, how to say that? Like I was a TV host in Venezuela and in some campaigns of brands, so I couldn't show my face
Because you were
because
recognizable, because you were a
yeah,
TV personality.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I had this like I became wild because I had a lot of frustration. Like, ugh, my heart was hurting so much for all the injustices. So I put the like a thing here, and I started, like running and burning wheels of the cars, but not violence. It's just like like a way different way to protest. And then I started seeing that these guys started the we say in Venezuela los colectivos. So los
The
colectivos mean,
collective.
oh, you know what's that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. So these guys that are thieves that are sent by this government from Maduro, they started uh, pump pump. What's the name? Like with guns. They
Mm.
started doing that with guns. So I knew that, oh my God, I'm in a dangerous place. So I got into my house, and yeah, after that I started seeing a lot of people hurt and died. A lot of people died, and a lot of people went to jail. I could have gone to jail too, a lot of people. So Maduro would say they are terrorists, like we were terrorists. And what else? Yeah, so my aunt last year, after the election, they were protesting like, "Hey, Maria Corina was the person that won. What is she's supposed to be the president." Well, Edmundo, and Maria Corina, and she's a happy person. She's always smiling. She doesn't even do what I did the other, like, with the with burning the wheels. Like, she doesn't even do that. She's just smiling and protesting like in a peaceful way. And they went to her house at like 3 a.m. They took her, and
Wow.
she was 4 months in jail, in prison. And she doesn't even talk so much about that because she was so traumatized by that she doesn't talk about that. She left the political thing, and now she's just at home. And a lot of other friends are still in prison. So when we cried, when my friend told me, I started having like these kind of flashbacks of, oh my God, my friends are gonna be released and families are gonna be reunited, and oh my God, all the injustices started to come up as flashback. Like, whoa. So I started, in the moment that I realized that it's true that Maduro is down, like he left, they took him. I started crying and what's the name of that? Like shaking, trembling. But I didn't know I was gonna react like that. It's just like trauma that was repressed and a lot of emotions that were repressed. And I felt that something in my heart just released, like, now I'm free. Like, I felt the freedom in my heart that nobody can even, maybe if people from Venezuela I think is the only people that are gonna truly understand that emotion.
Wow. That's powerful. So when you got that call and you realized, wow, this is real, what are you thinking now? Like what is the hope that's going through your head? I saw in Miami where there are so many Venezuelans there.
Yes.
I saw the chanting in the streets. I saw all the Cubans that are also sharing. I think I saw more Cuban flags than Venezuelan flags. Because they're waiting for the Cuba's Day. The I mean, but here's the other thing, and this is where I'm conflicted because I get hated from every side because I'm more of a libertarian. I believe that America doesn't belong in the business of other countries, but at the same time, I'm also a humanitarian. I believe in helping people, and I believe that, you know, what do we do? How do we support the voiceless? If not through military force, how do we help the people of Venezuela, right? What is it? What was the hope that you had? Like, what were the possibilities that went through your head when you heard this news and you actually said, "Wow, this is real." When your mom sent you those messages and you said, "This is actually happening."
The first thing that came out, I started crying and shaking, and the first thing that came up was all the experiences that we had. It's like a flashback, like, whoa. And in my head was like, oh my God, finally, thank you, God, because all the injustices, like all this frustration that we had, that's the first thing that came out. The other thing was, oh my God, all my friends, all these political prisoners are gonna be released. Oh my God, finally, finally,
Your aunt,
because
right?
yes, and 8 million people,
8 million
8 million
people.
Venezuelans left Venezuela.
Wow.
So I know a lot of people are gonna be reunited. Even me, I live in the United States, but Jake is my fiance, and he knows that I feel sad because I'm far from my family. My family is all over the world, so I'm far from them. So I'm like, wow, yes, a lot of families are gonna be reunited, and also we also have things there that were, like, so how to say, like we thought that we were gonna lose that.
Are you
Uh,
also thinking maybe now there's an opportunity to build something back, right?
yes,
To
yes,
rebuild and
yes,
restore your lives the way it was. I mean, it will never be the way it was, but at least the ability to live in the country that you call home.
yes, yes. I felt free, like literally, like inside of me, I felt so free, and I started talking to my friend, like, "Oh my God, we're gonna do this and this and this."
So
It
what
was so much happiness.
now that I got you all happy, let's go back for a minute. I'm still mind blown. Because I'm trying to understand what it's like to have the business just stolen from you. Like what happened next? Like walk me through. They basically put you out the Hugo Chavez on national television because he nationalized that. There's no such
Yeah.
thing as free media, no press, right, in a socialist country. They control the news, they control the narrative. I mean, how useless was it for you as a news reporter to only report what they wanted you to say, right?
Mm, yes.
What was it like, and what happened when the declaration happened? He said, "This business." What was the word that he used?
Expropiado.
Expropriado. What? Say it again.
Expropiado.
Expropiado, and
Yeah.
basically did this, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm taking over your business. Like, did they send someone to the business? Like, was your dad still running the business but had to give all the money
Yeah.
to him? Like, what happened? I don't even know what that's like. I still can't even fathom what it would be like for the government to just come in and say, "Your business, it's mine."
You know what happened? Next day, a lot of these people were in the company. And when my dad tried to go into his company, they said, no, it's our company. So,
All the employees were like, "Yeah, this is ours now." Because they bought into the whole, "Hey,
yes.
you're the evil business owner and we're the workers and we're the ones who do all the work." Wow, where have I heard this before in America?
Some of them, yes. Some of them loved my dad so much, but others were like envious or something like that. So yeah, and I remember in the house when Chavez said that. In that moment, I started crying. My mom like was on the floor, like, oh no, oh my God. My brother was so mad, and my dad was like, nothing happened, and I'm like, Dad, what happened? Like, why you are not sad, you are not frustrated, like what is happening? So I was so mad at my dad because my dad was like, just like, no reaction. And he said
You
something.
felt so powerless, I bet.
No, look at what he said. He said something that after he said this phrase, I have another level of respect from my dad. He said he can expropriate and take everything from me, but not my peace. Never. He will
Wow.
never take my peace.
Mm, what a resilient man your father
Yeah.
is. Wow.
Yeah.
Because it takes my peace just thinking about it. Like that's crazy. Wow. So then what happened? So after the business was taken over by, the workers and the state, what did your dad do? What happened?
My dad, he's really spiritual. He prays to God. So he every day he would pray like, "Hey God, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do." A lot of his friends that Chavez took the company, they died of heart attack, stress. So my dad was in peace. So we knew he was not gonna die because he was not reacting like with stress. So a lot of years passed. He still had another company, and he put like five lawyers, and yeah, he went in debt. I started working so much, working. I even gave money to my dad because I saw how my dad was struggling financially. So then he put like a lot of lawyers, and years after they gave the company back, but he couldn't open it again because all the machines were uh,
Ran
not
down.
gone, were not working anymore.
Yeah, because
Um,
you know what happens when you don't own something, you don't take care of it,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think people understand how much work goes into actually owning a business and running and operating a business and all the years of not making money as well. The,
Yeah.
like it's, I used to be very different in my political beliefs, and it used to be because I went to college and I was also told that I was a victim. I was also told that the reason why I'm not successful is because there are other successful people that have stolen my opportunity and wealth, right? It's a very common thing. I mean, really, that's what the education system teaches kids right now, right? The American dream has not been taught in schools for a very long time, right? And
Yeah.
now we're at a point now to where, you know, people celebrate. This is what really bothers me and why I'm excited to have you on here. Thank you, by the way, because I know it's getting very late there in Portugal.
No, thank you so
Um,
much.
but this is where I kind of want to end this today is what word of wisdom or experience would you say to people right now who are experiencing this and they're looking at this and they're not sure what to make of it? Like, what lessons can we come? What lessons can we get from this?
Hmm. Well, I will tell you first my perspective around what's happening because you asked me one question like, how do you feel now? Okay, how did I feel in the moment that I received the news, and how
Yep.
do I feel now after what Trump said, right? So I still feel really happy because
Let's go
I'm
back to what Trump said. Let's go back to let's talk about the conflict. So, what did you hear and how did you react? So talk let's go back to the moment when you heard Trump say something.
yes.
What did Trump say and how did you feel about it?
Okay, what did Trump? I'm not gonna say exactly what he said, but I'm gonna say what I understood is that he's gonna run the country until he finds the right person to run the country, right?
Yeah.
So when they asked them about Maria Corina, he said, "Well, she doesn't have the support and not even like a good, like the best reputation inside the country. So let's see something like that." So at first he was like, "Oh." So I felt like, oh, okay, what's gonna happen? So I then started talking to my brother, and then we were like, okay, you know what? And I even put it on my Instagram. I'm gonna just read this to you.
Please.
Yes, I'm still celebrating for Venezuela. So was it the best thing for Venezuela? I don't know if it was the best thing for Venezuela, but what I'm sure of is that is the best thing that has happened to us in years. Anything is better than Maduro governing because I already know, like I know that Trump, of course, like he values the oil of our country. Like I, that's a fact. I know about that. I know about that. Do I care 100% about, oh, he's gonna take some of the oil? Like, do I care? I care more about my people being released and about the families being reunited and about all the hope we're gonna have we have. all the hope we have, because Maduro didn't care about us. He didn't care about us at all. He's a criminal. He killed people. Like he did a lot of injustices. All these people just for being out in the streets. He did horrible things to these people, horrible things. So now Trump is saying, "Oh, we are going to run the country until we find a better person." Of course, that's still hope. That is still hope. A lot of people that are like, "Oh," people telling me, "Oh, I'm so sorry because of what is happening with your country." I'm like, "You're sorry? Like you don't know what we lived. We are
Mm,
happy. We are happy." I went viral on threads in English because I was posting in English, and a lot of people, all the people that are insulting me are people that are not from Venezuela. Venezuelans are like, "Yes, we're celebrating because we know what we lived." They don't know all these almost 30 years of suffering, injustice, violations of human rights. They don't know.
wow, that's crazy. Yeah. And this is a lot of people are worried. I'm seeing some people in the chat right now talking about us doing this, America doing this in Iraq and Afghanistan. And why is this different? You know?
Oh, that's a great question. Why is it different? Um, you know that I know that there are liberals here and libertarians and Republicans. I'm really neutral about this because of the life I have lived. Like I'm neutral. I don't go so much emotionally into politics. So I am neutral about Trump, about liberals. Like I'm neutral. So what I see is just that there is hope now because we did everything to take Maduro out of government. Everything, we did everything, and now he's gone. So there's hope. Do I know what's going to happen? I don't know. I'm not expert in politics, but
Yeah, I
I
think
know that something better, things are moving, and this is hope for us. That's the only thing that I know. I know that
wow.
a lot of people are saying it's worse. At least things are moving. Things were stagnant. Like you can feel the energy. I have a lot of friends in Caracas. I called them. They showed me, like, hey, it was there. Like they lived it, and they know all these people that were in the government, they are criminals. They are it was like a dirty energy there, and now they are feeling like they are really like feeling the hope. They are so happy. And even I have a lot of friends saying, I don't care if he takes some of the money of the oil. Like they just care, and now they care more. It's not that they don't care, it's that they care more about the people, about the
Mm,
human rights, about restoring the faith, the hope. They care more about the political prisoners being released. We care more about that right now.
that's incredible. I have one more person that I'm going to bring up. I want you to stay on just so I can see how you guys interact for a minute. So I have another person who is a friend in my network. His name is Juan, and he also has a story where I think he was able to come to America earlier in his life than you.
Mm.
I'm going to share his story, but I want to share before I share his story, I want to just pull you up because I made a post. Juan,
Hey Jeff, how's it going?
hey brother. So happy that you're here. And Juan and Maria both shared their stories on social media, and that's why they're here today. I couldn't help but just feel so much for you guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the stories that you guys put out there online so they have a better understanding of where you are, and then we can talk about it. And then Maria, I know you want to go to sleep soon, but I want you guys to I wanted you, Maria, to hear Juan's story.
Yeah,
And
I
Hola
am not
Maria.
sleepy at all because this is like it has a I have a lot of adrenaline of all the things that are
Yeah.
happening, so I'm not gonna sleep. I think I'm gonna sleep
No,
well.
no, no, no. I only have slept 4 hours since Friday. Yeah. How's your family, Maria? By the way,
They are
how's
good,
your
thank God. Yes.
yeah, happy. Oh yeah, Jay
so
Cortez. Oh, you live
so
in Lisbon, right?
Jake Cortez is a very good friend, one of my best friends, and Maria is his fiance, and it's, you know, I she shared her story with me in Miami and told me about how she, you know, and this is why Maria came to mind right away is because I remember her telling me we were on a jet ski together. Remember that? We were on a jet ski and you were telling me that you wanted to go back, that you love to go back, but you can't. And
Yes.
so you
And
were the
I really with Maduro I couldn't because my passport is expired, and if I go, I cannot go out of Venezuela without the
Yeah,
Venezuelan passport.
yeah,
yeah,
because I mean, in the US, it would be very simple to renew your passport, right? I mean, that's the normal thing, right? I mean, you need your ID, but in Venezuela, you may take for as long as a year,
Yeah.
and you may need to pay like $4,000 for that because the
right.
red tape and the corruption is
You've
so,
got you have to pay to leave. A socialist country is not good when your people leave, right?
Mm.
of course.
They have to keep you in there. So this is the story of Maria. I wanted you to hear it, Juan, before we get into your story. So people cry government overreach over policy debates. My fiance, that's Maria, fled her country after kidnapper said your sister is next. Let me tell you about real overreach. Stop calling it corruption. Corruption implies a system being abused. Venezuela isn't a government with corruption. It's a criminal organization with the government. Let me show you what this actually looks like. My fiance Maria was born there. Her father built a business from nothing. Real sweet, real sacrifice. Oh, real sweat, real sacrifice. Then Hugo Chavez nationalized it. He broadcast the expropriation on national television, announcing the name of the business he took and the name of the person who owned it. The criminals heard was this family has money. Within days, her brother was kidnapped, 24 hours of terror until the ransom was paid, and then they released him and told him something, which is, we're coming for your sister next, Maria. She didn't leave Venezuela for opportunity. She fled for her life. Her brother fled. Her parents fled. Her whole family scattered across the globe just to survive. This is what 27 years of revolution produced. Security forces executing protesters in the streets, hundreds documented by the UN. Special police units disappearing people from the homes at night, families finding bodies with signs of torture or not finding them at all. Women detained for protesting, sexually assaulted in custody, no one prosecuted. Hospitals so destroyed that mothers give birth without anesthesia and patients die from treatable infections. A state oil company bled dry through fake contracts while insiders moved billions offshore. An election where opposition candidate won according to independent counts, and the regime simply refused to release the results. The UN didn't call this political instability. They called it crimes against humanity. 8 million refugees, one of the largest displacement crises on earth. This is what most people miss. This isn't about socialism or capitalism. It's about what happens when any ideology becomes the excuse for eliminating accountability. The judges answer to the party. The Electoral Commission answers to the party. The military answers to the party. A party, of course, that answers to no one except for the leader. Who watches the watchers? In Venezuela, the answer has been no one for 3 decades. 8 million people paid for that answer. My fiance paid for that answer. So when Americans scream tyranny because the policy passes through legal channels that they don't like, I get quiet because I sleep next to someone who knows what tyranny actually looks like. It looks like your father whose life work is stolen on live television. It looks like your brother in a trunk for 24 hours. It looks like a whispered threat, your sister is next. It looks like fleeing your homeland with nothing because staying means dying. You want to know the difference between a government you disagree with and actual tyranny? A government you disagree with, you vote out. You sue. You protest. You post online without disappearing. You run for office yourself. tyranny, you run or you don't make it out. We still have courts. We still have elections with published results. We still have a free press. We still have the ability to call leaders criminals to their face without a knock on the door at 3 a.m. That's not a small thing. That's everything. Argue the policy all you want. That's your right. But words matter because 8 million Venezuelans would trade their government for your overreach in a heartbeat. It's not healthy to have neighbors who hate everything you love, especially your freedom. Wow.
Wow,
Incredible.
powerful.
Right? Now let's hear Juan's story before we get you talking, Juan, because you had a story that went mega viral yesterday, and that's why you're here. Um, let's see
Yeah,
where
you need to scroll
this
down.
one
Yeah,
right
we
here.
are. Yeah, that one.
There it is. Where in the world is it? There it is.
No,
Nope.
yeah,
There it is.
no, no, no,
Nope.
no. There, no, no. It has to say something like, "If you're an American, type for American, and you will find it."
Oh my
That
God.
one,
There
that
it
one.
is.
Yeah, that one, that one, that one. Yeah,
42,000 likes, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah.
42,000
My first
likes,
mega viral.
3,500 comments, 31,000 shares. Let's see what Juan has to say here. If you're American and you're curious about why Trump forced Maduro out, you should read this first. An analysis by a Venezuelan who left Venezuela. Because unless you're Venezuelan, you're missing almost everything that matters. I'm Venezuelan. I left my country in 2013 when Hugo Chavez died and Nicolás Maduro took power. I didn't have I didn't leave because I wanted to try life abroad. I left because I could see what was coming, and staying meant watching my future shrink year after year. So when Americans ask what do Venezuelans think about Trump forcing Maduro out of presidency, let me answer that question honestly, without slogans, moral theater, and without pretending this is simple. Most Venezuelans feel relief. Not because we love Trump or because we believe US does things out of pure love for freedom, and not because we are naive about geopolitics, oil, or power. We feel relief because we've lived through something Americans have never experienced, a country where nothing works, elections don't matter, and money stops being money, and time itself feels broken. Oh. Now, before someone jumps in to say, but not all of Venezuelans agree, let me be precise. Yes, there is a minority that doesn't agree. And that minority usually falls into one of three groups. They're doing business with the regime, so they just lost their paycheck, right, Juan? Some people personally comfortable inside the system and insulated from the worst consequences, and people that were pushed into some extreme poverty that survival depended on obedience. This last group matters, so let me explain it clearly. Millions of Venezuelans were reduced to depending on government-issued food box. A box of rice, pasta, oil, and sometimes expired food. A box that arrived irregularly. A box that was used as leverage. People were told explicitly or implicitly, if the government falls, this goes away. That is hostage psychology. When misery reaches that level, people don't defend the system because they believe in it. They defend because they are afraid of losing the only thing standing between them and hunger. And yes, some people opposed change, but the opposition was not free, informed, or dignified. It was coerced by collapse, and the rest of us lived something else entirely. Since Maduro took power back in 2013, Venezuela lost roughly 80% of its economy. We lived through years of hyperinflation where prices didn't rise monthly or yearly, they rose daily, sometimes hourly. Salaries became meaningless, pensions became symbolic, entire professions disappeared. We protested, marched, thousands of people got, you know what, unalived, and tens of thousands were illegally incarcerated as a political prisoner just because they didn't like Chavez or Maduro. We also voted because we believe in democracy. In 2015, the regime lost parliament by a massive margin. The result, ignored. We voted again in 2024. The opposition won overwhelmingly, 70 to 30. The result, again, ignored. Imagine winning every swing state in the US and being told no. That is not politics. And still, we didn't rise in arms. We tried to stay constitutional, peaceful, legal. During all this time, around a third of the country left, families torn apart. My own father died in exile. I'm sorry to hear that one.
Thank you very much.
Children grew up without grandparents. Entire cities aged overnight. So when Americans say, but foreign intervention is wrong, understand this. From the inside, Venezuela is already occupied by Iran, China, Cuba, Russia, who are using our beloved country as a shelter for terrorism, drug trafficking, and a foothold in American continent. No Venezuelan I know is celebrating bombs, humiliation, or chaos. What we're reacting to is a possibility that the lock might finally open. We know the U.S. has interest, oil, minerals, strategy, power. We are not children, but we remember a time when Venezuela was functional, prosperous, and connected to the world, when people came to our country instead of fleeing it. A future that didn't feel irresponsible to imagine. So, if you are American confused by Venezuelans celebrating, don't ask whether they support intervention. Ask what kind of suffering makes people accept the risk in exchange for hope. Because this is the reaction that didn't come from an ideology, but from exhaustion. Long live Venezuela.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much for reading.
Absolutely. And Maria, I'm sure you can probably relate. Like how
Yes.
does it make you feel, Maria, reading his story?
Well, the last part, it almost made me cry. And I'm so sorry for your dad
Thank you.
too.
Thank you very much. So sorry for your dad too. It must have been horrible to hear Chavez say, "Expropiese!"
Yeah.
Son of a bitch, hijo de puta. Sorry, sorry. I cannot. I mean, I cannot hold myself.
How old were you when you left the country, Juan?
26, 26. I have a story about that. I mean, when I was packing my stuff, my dad was a little like, well, he was sad because I was his first son to leave. Now my other two brothers, they live in London. So I mean, everybody is out of Venezuela. He told me, I told my dad, no worry, dad. I am just going to work a little there and get back because I want to buy my own house in Venezuela. And he told me this. I don't know, son. I mean, sometimes the bad things don't happen on CNN or in Palestine or in Israel or in a faraway country. This country is very, very bad, so you might need to stay there a little longer. I didn't want to believe him, but he was absolutely right. The 12 years later, I'm still trying to get home to fulfill that promise.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you, Maria, how old were you when you left?
Well, it's complicated because I was 19 years old, but then I came back and then I went back again because of the danger. And then, like, I did that since I was 19 years old. Like, after that, I was like going out and then going. And then finally, when I was 27 years old, I left, definitely. Like, that was
Yeah.
forever at that moment.
That's that's wild. So, Juan, what was going through your head when you heard the news? Did you think this is fake? This is could you were you the same as Maria where you were just genuinely like I don't even know if this is real?
Yeah, I mean, actually, I still cannot believe it. I mean, I still think of that moment and I cry. It was like it was a mix of feelings. Sorry, it's super emotional for me right now. I mean, yesterday at 7 a.m. in Europe, I am in Seville, Maria, by the way. I spoke with Jake. We were not very far apart. I woke up Natalie, my wife, and told her, "Hey, I mean, the Americans are in Venezuela." Okay, and 2 hours later, and I saw the news Trump gave us like we already captured Celia and Maduro, and say, "What? Is this real?" And we were crying. My wife and I were crying because I mean, just imagine it's like in Star Wars movie at the end when the people are like celebrating at the at the end of the war. Well, that's more or less what I felt. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe this. The nightmare is about to end after almost 30 years suffering this.
Mm, you know, it's crazy because, you know, one of the reasons why I did this is I wanted to share real stories from actual Venezuelans that fled, you know. I've just been overwhelmed by story after story after story from Venezuelans on social media, sharing their stories on X, on Facebook, on Threads. And it's just been so wild to see. And it also makes me wonder, you know, the reason why they're getting so much attention now is because people want to know what Venezuelans are thinking, right? And it also, to be real with you, I feel kind of guilty that even before this, I never really cared. Like I asked you, of course, because I was like, I know Venezuela's going through all this stuff, and when I met you, Maria, in person, I asked you about Venezuela and your family because I'm just a genuinely curious person. But I think it's brought a lot of national attention because half the country in America is trying to find a reason to hate Trump, right? Um, and even here, I'm looking at the comment here that we've got on this live stream, and of course, we're sitting here talking about human rights and your experience, and you better believe the comment is, "What about the Epstein files?" Right? This is just where we're at. So first off, where in Venezuela were you guys from?
Caracas, I think. I think she's Caracas as well. She's from Caracas as well.
Uh, I I was born in Maracay, Aragua
Okay.
State. Yeah, from the Tren de Aragua, yeah, Aragua State.
Yeah, yeah.
I was born there. Um, and I grew up in La Victoria. It's a small town. It's 40 minutes from Caracas. And then I was working in Caracas. So I was born in Venezuela, La Victoria grew up, and then I started working in Caracas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was born in Caracas, the city. Okay, I mean, yeah, because she lives like, let's say, yeah, she lives like New York and Manhattan or Brooklyn, something like that. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, more or less like that. I mean, and to answer the question of this person, I know, but I want to address that because it's not like we Venezuelans. I mean, I am sure Maria doesn't like. I mean, no, I don't know any Venezuelan who loves seeing his city getting bombed. I know.
If I knew exactly, because I saw exactly where they were getting putting the bombs, so I would have been happy. Yes.
Yeah,
Like when I saw like if I was there and I saw the places, the place where Hugo Chavez was still there, and the house of Maduro, like you see that, and I think a lot of Venezuelans
You
would
know
be
exactly what
happy.
that is. Those are government buildings, right? Those are
Yeah.
those
yeah,
are
more or
the
less.
government buildings and where Hugo and Maduro are, right? So they're very targeted strikes.
Yeah.
Which by the way brings us to a great topic, like because this is something that for me, this is a big conflict for me. I wrote a post talking about the conflict of interest that I have internally because I'm so happy for Venezuela, but at the same time, is America the police of the world, right? I mean,
Mhm.
what and let's talk about that. So, Juan, we kind of cut you off there, but when you said that you saw, you're not happy about the bombs coming in, and I, the one thing that is very similar between both of your stories, which I respect a lot, and I feel like so far has been the combined story from everybody I've seen, is that like what you wish happened was that the votes were real and Maduro would have left. That's what I'm
Yeah.
getting.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Yes.
he
Exactly.
didn't leave and everyone lost hope and they left. So
Yes.
Yeah.
in your minds, you were waiting for a moment like this to happen, something extreme, something that's unbelievable. Like I
Yes.
bet you your very first thought was that this did not really happen. This is unbelievable, right?
Yeah, exactly. We try all the peaceful ways, voting, marching, rallying. And even in the last elections, I know for a fact that Trump and the U.S. government tried to give Maduro all the guarantees that if he conceded, he would have left to Russia or to Uzbekistan or some of these strange Eastern countries, but he didn't want to do it. He thought he could defy the US. He thought he could challenge everybody. Well, now he's in New York, rotting in a jail, and I hope he dies there, hopefully. But
Yeah.
of course, I'm not happy to the. I mean, we are not right now. I mean, we are right now like when the Germans celebrated the fall of the Austrian painter. But maybe I hope it's not the case. But maybe we will need to see how our country is divided for 30, 40 years or forever. I mean, we don't know that. That's part of the thing. But imagine how desperate we need to be for us to accept that maybe that's the price we need to pay for our country to dissolve. But at least we're going to be free. Imagine how desperate you need to be to accept this kind of shitty offer.
Mm. You
Yeah,
know,
since we're marketers, that's a shit of an offer. But we're so desperate, we're going to take it and see how we can actually make it good for us.
they if there's one thing that the White House and Trump have done very well, it's run social media better
Oh,
than
yes.
any president or any political leader in history. And you can debate and say that this is not acceptable, that this is politicizing the office and whatnot. But I'll tell you, if there's one thing that we can learn from Trump, it's he is a master at getting attention and staying relevant every day. There are
True.
people whose their entire identity is based on Trump and on both sides. But
Yeah.
actually, I think what's been really interesting is that Trump has been able to become the identity for so many people who don't like him, which has been wild. Um, I made a post about this that went viral last year about how uh, there are people that literally will come on anytime I say anything nice about Trump or what's going on or this here. I mean, it's already happened in the comment sections of this little video. This is a little tiny video. It's not going to go viral because Facebook's platform doesn't allow viral this live video isn't something that they promote. But what's really interesting about it is that uh, there's so many people that if you just scroll down their wall, every single thing is some sort of a deranged meme about Trump. He's been able to, as they call it, live rent free in the minds of his opponents, to where they can't even function. They've never seen this much. You've never seen this much reaction by a political person ever, probably in history. I think the only person who's still talked about, I don't even know, is maybe Hitler. And I'm not comparing Trump and Hitler. All I'm saying is, as far as being a political figure that people can instantly think of and make jokes about and talk about and hate, Trump and Hitler are up there. And
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
and it's because of stuff like this. I'm going to share my screen and I want to get your guys' initial reaction to the
Okay.
official White House TikTok. The caption of the video is FAFO, right? And if you don't know what that stands for, look it up. I'm not going to say it live on the stream, but we're going to now show you an official video that happened right after this extraction. And you guys are going to hear for the first time, some of you, an
Okay.
official White House video. And
I saw it. I saw it.
enjoy, or for those of you who are not happy with Trump, not enjoy. All right. I'm gonna move this around and hopefully you guys can hear the sound.
Venga por mí. Aquí lo espero en Miraflores. No se tarde en llegar, cobarde.
And now, if you don't know, now you know.
This is it's
Oh my
almost
God.
it's again unbelievable, right? It's this this video with 34,000 comments. Even just the top comment has 215,000 likes. Just the top comment, and it's literally a meme of an air defense. It's like a tower defense game. Like this is their defense couldn't do anything against America is the joke, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
F around and find out. Like this is some of the stuff that is happening, and
Venga por mí.
you can say that it's polarizing America, which I would agree it is. I would absolutely agree. It's polarizing the world, but it's
Venga
getting
por mí.
attention. I want to watch this with you
Venga por
guys,
mí.
and I want to get your reaction. Okay.
Venga por mí.
Last night, on the order of the President of the United States,
Aquí lo esperan Miraflores.
and in support of a request from the Department of Justice,
No se tarde en llegar.
the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolás and Cecilia Maduro.
¡Cobarde!
Nicolas Maduro had his chance until he didn't. He effed around and he found out.
This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history.
Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, you know, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. But don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well.
Wow. Wow.
So,
I'm sorry.
so
I'm
first,
sorry
first
that
off, I
love
think
it.
one thing's for sure: we're gonna have a lot of Venezuelan Republicans now.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's basically stolen an entire demographic of Venezuelans, American Venezuelans. I mean, I already know Cubans love Trump. Every time I go to Miami, it's funny because I'm here in California, right? So, the view of Trump and the Latino population is not very favorable. It's more favorable than it has been, but I feel like, this move here, is a cement of everything that Venezuelans do. But I will also say this on the other side, all eyes on Trump now, right? Like this has the potential of being possibly the closest geopolitical disaster we've had since the Cuban Missile Crisis. Or, I mean, there's definitely been other situations where America has gone into countries and messed around and they found out, right? It's left vacuums. Look what happened in El Salvador, right? I mean, thank God we have, Bukele now. And we're seeing in what's happening too with Javier, is it Milei? Milei, right?
Milei.
And he's in it's Argentina, right? Am I
Sí,
am I
sí, exacto. Yeah.
so I try to keep up on what's happening geopolitically, and I see that they're, and it's interesting because people are always like, well, these Venezuelans are right wing. Well, first off, I think the idea and definition of right wing has changed so much, right? Because right wing, if you think of what right wing is today, I mean, I mean, to be right wing is to believe in a nuclear family, right? Right wing is to think that men should not go in girls' bathrooms. Right wing today is that men shouldn't play in women's sports. These are just things that 80% of Americans and probably 90% or not, almost 95% of the world just believes is right, not right wing, right? Um, so where do you guys see, and this is where I wanted to bring this back, and this is probably the part you guys aren't going to be fun with, like what do you see is happening? What I believe is that the reason why people are so quote unquote right is because they've have to live through the tyranny of the left. When you are suppressed by socialism and
Yeah.
communism, and you have no choice but to be an individualist in a collectivist society. So this is, by the way, the spectrum that I'm going to redefine for this call is I think people have a horrible idea of what right wing and left wing is. And for me, I believe right wing and left wing is very, very simple. And I think most people have a hard time defining it. Left wing is pro government, big government, oligarchies, dictatorships, communism, socialism. Right wing is like the furthest right wing is to me anarchy, which I'm almost borderline anarchist. Like I'm a very minimal government person. I believe that the people are the best way. I believe that the government can't do very much good with our money, but we can. We can do a lot better. I know that your dad's business would be running a lot better and that equipment would be working and functional today if the government wasn't in charge.
Mm.
So what do you guys see moving forward? Like what do you think this means? Like if you're in Venezuela right now, let me make the question easy. If you're in Venezuela right now, or you're questioning, hey, if America comes and sets up shop and helps this transition period, what would that even look like?
Mm.
When people have
Yeah,
been for
later.
26 years been under the boot of the government and the boot is lifted, what happens? There's going to be a power struggle. People are going to try to take over because that's human nature. Everyone,
Mm.
see, this is the thing about socialism. Everyone is a capitalist, even in a socialist system. They all want to win. They all want to have power. They all want to take charge. So what happens if you're in Venezuela and you want to restore the government, you want to restore the people and remove the government power? Like what happens?
Mm. Well, I'm not an expert in this, but I know because I lived it, and I know that Maduro is just the tip of the iceberg. First, what needs to happen is that Diosdado, Delcy Rodriguez, the other people that are here, they are the head of Maduro. They have to leave first, because if they don't leave, we are still not 100% free, right, Juan? Do you know what that?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
exactly.
The regime is still there, basically.
Yeah, it's like a pimple, you know. I mean, you squeeze it and the head just popped, but there's still pus. So you need to strike the pus, the rest of the pus. So if that makes sense.
Hmm.
exactly. And also, what Maria Corina is saying, that the first thing that we need to know is that they are going to release the political prisoners. Like we need that. It's so many, so many. How many, Juan? It's more than 3,000 uh
3,000 just but from July 24 on, but there has been I think at least 20K for in the last 26 years.
yeah.
So imagine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we need to have that because Maduro regime was a regime of terror. People. I mean, people. That's something funny, because many libs and many Democrats, they say, "Oh yeah, but you only see Venezuelans celebrating outside the country," meaning that inside they're not so happy. No, they are terrified. They are terrified that people will knock on their doors and they will be taken away. That because that's what
That
happened last time
that's
when.
That's what I've learned, and that's why I made a post yesterday. I made a post yesterday so that people can understand, because I'm just looking at what you guys are doing. I'm looking at what you guys are saying. I'm learning from people inside. I'm looking at people from the outside too. Like I made a post just a few moments ago here. And by the way, I want to have her on here too. This is my very good friend Arnie Giske and his I think they're married now as Ruby. And, she also has a story where she has fled, to Colombia. And, but what's really crazy here is I made this post here just from listening to you guys that just a reminder, yes, Venezuelans are celebrating in the streets of the USA, but people in Venezuela are still quiet and afraid because
Mhm.
there's
Yeah, of
still
course.
the regime is still there, right? The regime
Yes.
is still there and they're afraid. I mean, what happens if the vacuum gets filled and the opposition party is trampled and Maduro's next in line, the government general or whoever steps up to fill the void. And now the people who were celebrating in the streets, by the way, the same thing that happened in Palestine. Just want to throw this out
Yeah,
there. In Palestine, after the ceasefire happened in Palestine, people were celebrating in the streets, and Hamas, the terrorist organization, went and killed people that were celebrating in the streets because they weren't happy about the ceasefire, right?
Yes.
So what you have family there in Caracas, in Venezuela. Do you have contact with them? Like what is
Yes.
going on over there? That's what I want to know. What's happening in Venezuela?
Yes. I have talked to a lot of friends in Venezuela, and all of them are excited, but part of them are still scared. They are in their houses, they don't go out, and also the supermarkets are full. Everything is closed, even Farmatodo. Farmatodo is a store that is open 24 hours, which like
It's
it's
like our Walmart here, huh?
so strange that it's closed. Yes, exactly. It's so strange that it's closed. So yes, they are afraid of going out of in the streets because all the time in Venezuela, what happens is that the collectives go and kill people just like that, right, Juan? I don't know if
Yeah, the collectives are their own group, the Maduro's own groups. So I mean, they are like the brown sweater, the brown shirts, Mussolini's brown shirts, for example. I
Mm.
mean, they are the hit groups. They're hit
That's
yes.
groups.
those
So
are the thieves that you talked about before, right, Maria? Basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they are afraid about that, but I have been asking, like, what do you think about Trump? Even like I'm gonna tell you all the opinions. Even I have a friend that told me, like, I want Trump to govern the country. Let's do it. And then the other friend is like, hey, yeah, if we become like Puerto Rico, it's also okay. We don't care. We're just free. And the other person says, no, no, we want Maria Corina. So it's like a lot of different opinions, but we already know that something this is better. We don't know if this was the best thing that happened, but we know that is the better thing that has happened. It's
Hmm.
better
the
than
best thing, yeah.
anything else,
Well,
right?
I'm gonna give you, Juan, the last word here because I think we've. By the way, thank you guys for joining me and
Well,
doing this, and I hope this was valuable to people. I hope that
no,
people.
thank you for taking our stories
Yeah.
and trying to make our stories get yeah. Sorry,
Well,
I am a
The
little.
world.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just being selfish. You know, I want to know from the inside. I know you guys are obviously fled Venezuela. You know what it's like. You've lived through the horror of surviving socialism, is what I'm calling this here. And you know, my greediness is that I don't feel like I understand it enough. So I'm doing this because I want to learn more. I want to know what you guys are going through,
Thank
and
you.
also because I heard so many people that just want to. They literally told me I want to hear from actual Venezuelans what's going on, and this is something that hopefully people learn from and understand. Yes, and this is where this is where I'm conflicted as an American. You call me far right, whatever, libertarian, anarchist, whatever. I don't believe that America should be meddling in the countries of others, but I also believe that there is good that has to be done on this earth. It's like there's a conflict of interest here in my own brain because I'm so happy for what happened to you guys. Am I happy that Trump did this without a declaration of war? Does he need a declaration of war? Some say no. Some say he's broken the Constitution, that he did have a declaration. You know, uh, People are saying because he's been international war crime guy that like, I don't know. I wish I knew the answer to this. It's very complex for me.
Yeah.
But
No,
what I am doing now is celebrating with you guys because I know that this gives you hope.
Yes.
yeah. Okay, and to give you some context, because I understand your conflict. This is something valuable I want to give to your audience, so that something that aligns to them. Because yeah, we're very happy in Venezuela because that helped us, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be worried if a president or a ruler starts breaking the constitution and starts skipping. I mean, taking shortcuts to do the thing because that's the way Chavez started. I mean, he started like, hey, un milloncito aquí, un millardito aquí. I mean, something, a little favor here, a little favor here. And then eventually, I'm not saying that the US is going that way because, I mean, honestly, I mean, because that's something that people have asked me. Honestly, for you to get to the point to the point of Venezuela, you need to go through a lot of things. And I don't think that the US is in that state because you have one president, but you have 50 governors that are as powerful as the president. So that's something that we didn't have. We didn't have the check and balances right from when Chavez arrived. So Chavez was very, I mean, it was very easy for him. But it doesn't mean that you need to defend them. Like you need to defend democracy every single day because when you lose it, it takes a lot of time. I mean, it takes you generations, blood, tears. You may never, you may at the end never recover it. So you are absolutely right to feel like conflicted because you are happy to see people who are celebrating, but at the same time you are like, yeah, but shouldn't I be worried that my president didn't follow the constitution? I absolutely get it. So it's not,
With
you can have the two things at the same time. So don't worry about that.
with Maduro, you couldn't have done that. Like you couldn't. Maduro, you can see Maduro going to the jail and say Happy New Year. How do I say that in English? Happy New Year, good. Like he like nothing happened. He's like that. Like he killing a lot of people in Venezuela, and he was like, "Hi, how are?" So
No, he
this
was
guy,
dancing. He was dancing as well, salsa.
he was dancing exactly, dancing over all the dead people. Like the quantity of deaths more than a war, and he was just dancing like nothing happened. So this guy, you had to do that because you couldn't take him out of the government with like in another way. The intervention was needed.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for sharing that, and and for me I'm like, well, is America the people that have to do that? I don't know. I mean, I agree, but here's the thing too, right? I mean, in let's be real about Venezuela. Let's talk about who's allowed to have power. Let's talk about who's allowed to have guns. The government,
Mhm.
right?
Government.
So there is no way to rise up against Maduro because the only people that have guns are the government, right?
Yeah,
Oh, for
So
sure.
again, this is stuff I hope people take away from this is it seems to be the same trend. Go back to Hitler. One of the very first things that Hitler did when he took over the National Socialist Party was that he started doing restrictions on who can have guns. He did restrictions on who could speak. He started demonizing and doing propaganda posters about certain types of people, right? And by the way, it wasn't all just Jews. It was a certain type of demographic. But the point is, it starts dehumanizing people. It starts making people feel like they should give everything for the motherland. They should give everything, right, for Venezuela, and that there is no such thing. There should never be a rich person. The society is wrong. See, this is how they paint you in your brain. They say society is wrong if there's a rich person because everyone should be sharing equally. And of course, as we know, it's never happened, right? Because it's not human nature.
And also
yeah.
what it creates is that all these people that were listening to him all the time, every day, to Chavez saying that, they would be so envious, jealous, and with a lot of anger when they saw people that were successful. So, for example, with me, with my family, we were like, "Oh yeah, we are okay, so," but we were doing really good at that moment. And then when they realized, so people started like to insult us, like, "Hey, you shouldn't be." So we started having this guilt inside of us, guilt of doing good in life, guilt of being successful. So it's like a hidden dynamic also what happened, like
Mm.
so dense, so dense.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, I agree. I mean, because in Venezuela there's a lot of inequality. I mean, the people who have a lot of money, they have a lot of money, and people who don't have money, I mean, it's not like in the US that you earn $4K and you are poor, but I mean you're not going to starve. But in Venezuela, actually, it can be like that. So basically, when I would say like, hey, I mean, I live in an apartment in a good area. I mean, a middle class area in Venezuela, Santa Fe. Basically, people would tell me, yeah, you're an oligarch. You are rich. I mean, of course, they will instill you this guilt of doing well in life, of being middle class, of having possibilities. It's not like, I mean, it's like, I mean, it's not my fault. I had these possibilities. I mean, it's not my fault that you didn't have these possibilities. I'm sorry for that. And that's why I believe that the next government needs to take care of inequality. But it needs to be through the market, not through intervention, through heavy state intervention, because that doesn't work. Doesn't work at all.
Needs to give people the right tools to earn and grow. And I
Yeah.
think that there's also something to be said about, you know, when you Benjamin Franklin said something. I'm going to go all the way to Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin said something in a letter warning France about their welfare program. He actually was writing a letter um, to the powers that be in France, and he was warning them that he is for doing good for the poor, but not by making them comfortable in poverty, but by driving them out of it. And he said that in his travels, the companies that gave provisions to people who were poor made them more poor because they basically were comfortable and they didn't have to actually go out and work and earn. They were comfortable, just like you were talking about in your post one, that box, right?
Yeah.
That third type of people, the third type of person who becomes dependent on the government. And we have that problem in America. Did you know that 40% or more of Americans alone in America, I know you guys aren't in America, but here in America, and I think that I have a great friend, Camilla, who I'm actually going to go see next week in Las Vegas. She's from Brazil, where they're going through the
Oh
same
yeah, I
type
know her.
thing. Oh, you know Camilla? So she is an incredible person, and she's talking about how it's the same thing, where the people are so poor that they are literally bribing these people by giving them just enough supplies to survive. And the threat is, like what you said, Juan, if this government gets voted out, if this ever, if the, free democracy, conservative, pro public, non-socialist government gets elected, this box goes away. So they always vote for the Socialist Party because they don't want the box to go away. So
Yeah.
my question to you guys, is your vote because they're afraid to take your box away? What is your box? Is it food stamps? Is it welfare? Is it your corporate welfare? Is it your tax deductions? Is it your uh, earned income credit? Is it your child income credit? We have so many programs in America. Is it your $7,500 electric car cash rebate, right? Every time you have the government giving out money, and I don't care if it's for corporate welfare, if it's for farmers or gas or food stamps or whatever it is, it's the government handing you a box and warning you that if you don't vote that way, we're going to take it away. Anyway,
Oh, that's powerful.
we got it
That's
there.
powerful. What's your box? What's
There's
your
your
food
what
box?
what is your box? That's my question. What is your box? What is something preventing you from doing it yourself because you are comfortable? There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, Maria and Juan, thank you guys so much for sharing your stories about
Thank you, Jeff.
Venezuela. And feel free, everybody, comment your feedback. Ask these guys questions. I'm going to make sure to tag them in this post so they can see your questions. But if you have real genuine questions and it's not just, Trump, Epstein, whatever, you have like legitimate questions about Venezuela, please do. And, I have know lots of people in my network who would love to answer those. I want people to be genuinely curious. And I think that's very important. So thank you guys for sharing your stories and
Thank
have a
you,
good
Jeff,
night
for
over
inviting
there.
us.
Over there.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you very
you.
much.
Thank you guys.
Muchas
Bye.
gracias. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you.